Hi, we're Tabletop Potluck, an actual play podcast created to help diversify the world of mainstream tabletop role-playing games.
And make tasty recipes.
And help you find your new favorite RPG system.
And to have fun.
So check it out.
Now on all podcast directories.
Come sit at our table.
Welcome back to Merely Roleplayers, where theatrical people play role-playing games. I'm Matt, I set the scene, but actually we're all going to set the scene for this little Backstage episode. So, hello Ellie.
Hello.
Hello Dave.
Hello.
Hello Vikki.
Hello.
Hello Alex.
Hello.
What I thought would be fun is to flesh out the galaxy of this story a little bit by just going around and asking any questions that we're curious about, and we can answer them by making some stuff up as a group.
Sounds
Delightful.
good. I'm excited because I feel like I've got so many questions, but maybe that's also like things that Ellie and Dave can answer from doing the first part of this.
That's good because I can't think of any questions. So
I know everything about this universe.
Oh, Dave.
Is it mostly brown?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I reserve the right to veto some questions and say like that is a mystery that we'll solve in
That's fine.
the story.
Okay.
But
Understood.
yeah, I just want to start off with where is the best place in the galaxy to have fun? Like, where does everybody go to blow off steam?
Philium.
Philium, planet.
Is this a pre-existing
planet
place? Or one
station?
that you've
It's a pleasure planet.
Pleasure planet, Philium.
Wow. Are we fleshing out the pleasure planet?
Oh.
Keep it PG. Space swears only, please.
Is that a thing that you just made up or
It's a thing I made up.
Oh, okay. When you said it, I wasn't sure if it was something that's in right. So we
She
might
said it
need
so
it.
confidently.
Yeah, I know.
I was like, but
it's a mystery for
great.
us.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think it's legit that there would be a planet that's specifically dedicated to fun.
Oh yeah.
That's a really good sci-fi trope.
Yeah. So I think like there probably are like designated adult areas that we don't need to talk about.
Yeah.
But I think generally it is like big old theme parks, like spas,
Casinos.
leisure centres, casinos.
I feel like it's the kind of place where it's like if you want to go unnoticed to do a slightly dodgy deal, that is the place that you would go to.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. Nice.
Although it's very expensive to get in, so you might not want to do that.
Maybe it's like the exclusive high-level
But that's
deals.
what I mean, like a place where it's like no questions asked, like everyone's kind of like ignoring one another's business because you might be there for something kind of weird, or you might be just there to go on a roller coaster. Yeah. Who knows?
It's like Vegas. What happens on Philium stays on Philium.
Yeah.
I think it's very like the climate is very agreeable for like a large portion of like the average population of the galaxy, and that's it's good.
Yeah.
Like nobody needs houses really. Like it's just comfortable to just sleep outside. Like get up, get straight on the roller coaster.
I think it's got like different microclimates as well. Like you could go skiing or you could go and be on the beach.
Okay, nice. So they've got little biodomes and stuff.
Yeah, if it's actually like a totally like constructed environment. But it's the size of a planet.
Yeah, it'd be really cool if it was like previously just a rock, just a barren rock, and they just went, right, let's make this interesting. This is a good canvas to work off.
Yeah, maybe it's like well located.
Well located, and also happens to have like the perfect atmosphere for almost all life forms in the universe to exist.
So that is a follow-up question then that I have about life forms in the universe. So obviously we've mentioned a snake person.
We really had too many snake people, if anything.
Okay. And I did want to check that, like whether this is a situation where it's like the human race has just spread out throughout the galaxy, or whether it's like actually no, there are millions of different life forms.
So what we established for the first session was this is a different galaxy. So this isn't the Milky Way.
Okay.
But it is happening like at the same time as we're living our real lives.
Yeah.
here.
Okay.
So it's another galaxy where humanity has either parallel evolved or some people fell through a wormhole at some point and spread. When it's not the future, it's just another galaxy where
Yeah.
everything is a bit more technologically advanced and everybody's got faster than light travel and can be.
And there are life forms that are
can mix.
non-humanoid.
Yeah,
Yes.
so we want it as diverse as possible, but
Yeah.
we sort of failed a little bit in the last season because we just kept putting in snake people.
Okay.
We had
man.
our friend Swiktak Lang,
Yes.
well.
And
that
Bing
was
Taxwheel.
who's like
second person.
sort of like an insectoid,
Yeah.
like praying mantis type person.
Are the conclave predominantly made up of human beings, or are they a total mix of different
So
species?
the ones we've met so far have been human, but I'm open to suggestions. We've got one who is a cyborg.
Right, yes, no, I remembered that from episode 1.
Yeah, and one who is a human.
Yeah.
And that's all we've really met of them. We've described some recalibrators as just being in black armour, but we didn't
But
really...
you don't know what they are underneath the...
Right.
Okay.
So what does everyone think?
There was a lady with crab claws as well, wasn't there?
She
She worked at the bank, didn't she?
Yeah.
Leslie or whatever.
worked at the Space Bank.
Sure, Leslie. Leslie, the crab-clawed bank assistant.
I think I like the idea of the core conclave if their whole sort of MO is to make a perfect galaxy for everyone, then there would be multiple people in there. I feel like there would be some sort of council and there would be a representative from every sort of species on there.
It gets us away from a superior race
Yes.
concept as well, which
Yeah.
is obviously quite done in sci-fi.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
like the
it's-
ideas of the recalibrators being sentient gas in an inflatable suit, so that when you kill
So
them,
they're not
they just go,
actually people, yeah.
Would they
Muscle
maybe, if they got shot and it pierced them, just fly away like a balloon and make a little raspberry noise?
Yeah, exactly like that, yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Maybe not all of them, but certainly some of them.
Yeah.
The odd one, you'd hear this.
like foot soldiers.
Is it the foot soldiers or is it the ones that are in command that are made of the gas?
Yeah, I like sort of completely differly formed
Yes.
species
Non-biological.
like the, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy has a species that is just a super intelligent shade of the colour blue.
Yes, yeah.
And
Yeah.
Night Vale has a person who is a sentient patch of haze.
Yeah.
I quite like those sorts of things. Like
Yeah.
gas creatures.
Ender's Game introduces they're so like things that are so separate from us, we don't even know how to like properly communicate with them because they don't even have, like, if you don't have a mouth and you can't make words, then how do you communicate? So I think there's some interesting stuff there.
Yeah, and I like the idea of there not being like a dominant race or like a most common race, and that's almost why the Conclave feels like they need to be there, because everything's a bit like nobody's really in charge of the whole lot. So it's just
Yeah.
like, oh, we'll be the neutral party that has like the neutral computer system that makes everything better for everyone.
Yeah, and we're representing everyone. So
Cool. Any more questions?
how vast is this galaxy that we're in, and are there multiple galaxies that we're aware of in this galaxy?
I had been thinking, let's limit it to the one galaxy.
Yeah,
So, like, intergalactic travel is not something that's been solved.
yeah, okay,
But the galaxy is big. Like, it
has a number of planets
Many,
and
many
moons.
planets.
yeah, many.
Okay,
Yes, many planets, many stations.
many solar systems within the galaxy. Okay.
Yeah, like weird space phenomena, nebulas, all
Black
sorts
holes,
of
et cetera.
all sorts of space terrain. Big, diverse. Obviously, lots of empty space because that's what space is like. There's always huge tracts of empty space, even in a quote unquote populated area. But yeah, so it's vast, and the only reason there can be a galactic community is because of things like drill space drives.
And with that, the drill space drive, does it drill through space? Is that literally
And
that?
sometimes time.
And sometimes time.
Yeah.
Should you make
Accident
a
mess it up.
Yeah. Okay, cool. No, I don't think I have any other questions. I'm just keen to get discovering.
Okay.
I have a question about the Conclave.
yeah.
Are they the dominant like political force as well as they are the decision makers for everything?
Yeah, I think they've sort of become that.
Yeah. So they are the form of government that we have galactic.
I reckon they have like like a token local government on each planet,
Yeah.
but they actually wield zero power. They're
Yeah.
just delivering concave.
And it's like everyone's reporting up through.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like everybody can set their own local policy as much as they like, have as much control as they like, except if they get something coming through saying...
Like a directive.
Our simulation indicates that if you shift this population off this planet, everything will be better for everyone, so do it.
Okay.
Up to.
The simulation has shown that if you introduce wheelie bins and collections on a Wednesday, then everyone will feel much better.
So that's what has to happen.
Nice.
What
like
happens?
It.
Do we establish what happens if you... There's that
if you
thing
resist.
from season 1, if you resist, then...
The recalibrators come along and do it for you.
They just come and do. Okay. Yeah. It's not like Death Star blow up the whole planet situation. They just enforce.
It's whatever's best according to the simulation. Yeah. So if the simulation says blowing up a planet would be best for everyone, then that's what will happen.
Okay.
The flaw being that the simulation can't be perfect because however many probes you send out, you can't model the whole lot.
No.
But they act as if they can.
I mean, is there any suggestion that someone is altering the simulation for their own nefarious ends, or...
I mean, the simulation itself is
nefarious.
Is a bit of a rogue agent at this point.
Okay, fair enough.
I've got like a kind of Thanos vibe of like, that the best thing to do is X, but it's the best based on like a slim set of principles about the end result. Right?
Yeah, and it's a bit of tyranny of the majority.
Yeah. There's no empathy involved.
No. And is it mostly a utilitarian approach they're trying to take?
Yeah.
So you could sacrifice a planet if it's best for the whole galaxy, and they're always just weighing the numbers.
Yeah. Okay. And it's not us. We didn't decide this.
No. Simulation.
So they are able to abdicate the power of the responsibility. Right. Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Great.
How does most of the galaxy feel about that?
I kind of get the impression that it would be most people sort of towing the line for the most part, but then getting annoyed or taking umbrage when they themselves are affected.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I think my expectation.
Support for the resistance and sort of the discontent with the Conk has grown over the years because people were initially like, oh, this seems fine. But then as soon as it affects them personally, they're like, oh, no, not fine.
Yeah, and I reckon there are it is my intuition that there will be classes of people or groups of people or certain planets who are consistently worse off as a group because they do something that is supposed to serve the needs of the galaxy as a whole. And they're like this class of downtrodden people, but there might be like, you could imagine like, oh, it's a mining planet and everyone's asked to do something really like these really horrific, dangerous jobs, but it's good for the galaxy as a whole, so you have to just suck it up. And they are probably 50% kind of enslaved mindset of like, we're doing this for the good of the people and they're brainwashed and they don't know any different. And 50% people who are like, hang on a minute, like this
is very biased.
So they don't know how to have an uprising, but they're waiting for an opportunity to do something about it.
Yeah, so not necessarily a particular race, but like a particular kind of industry, like primary resource extraction tends to do
I'm thinking about like the Hunger Games, right? With people in District 12 much more likely to try and overthrow the government, but they don't have no power with which to do so. Or resources, because, so they're kept poor and under the cosh because they are... if they had any power, they would be the most dangerous because they have the most to gain by overthrowing the government.
Working class, the downtrodden.
Yeah, it's got some good socialist overtones. But yeah, you can imagine also there are classes of people who are technically being oppressed, but their oppression suits them, so they're happy, right? If it keeps you wealthy and comfortable and you don't mind if you're serving the Conclave, because...
It doesn't actually really
It doesn't seem to be that bad for you. Even if you actually have no free will, you're still like, being in the Matrix is kind of okay because I've got a sweet life.
I have one last question to bring it back to this nominally being a theatre-related show. Is just about culture. We talked about Conk Street, the Conclave's propaganda soap.
Yeah, I love that, by the way. Just genius.
Are there any other cultural products? Like, what else is popular? Is there anything that's popular that's a bit off the mainstream?
Oh, there's probably got to be music. There has to be music, and if that's the case, then yes, there would be. I don't want to say state sponsored, but Conk sponsored, slightly out there artists that are allowed to do certain things that makes it look like the Conk are giving them
funding for the arts.
Look at what we allow you to do, but it's all kind of under the auspice of these people.
Like they have to do things in a certain way.
Yeah,
no provocative lyrics.
Yeah. But if they were provocative lyrics, then it would all be very monitored and structured in a way that would be okay.
And then politically provocative.
Oh right.
Yeah. But like anything that people are allowed to do, it's giving the illusion of artistic freedom of expression, but actually there's none of that whatsoever.
And then I bet there's a really good underground scene.
Totally,
in, like anarchic punk style.
Yeah. And people are being like, recalibrated for things that seem like they're anti.
Oh, that would be quite interesting. The people saying they've been recalibrated to show that they're like alternative when they actually haven't. So like recalibration's like a sort of like a badge of honour. Sort of like I got recalibrated because I was so alternative, and they're like definitely weren't.
You're now a loser.
Yeah.
Get out, you hipster. I like the idea of there being some sort of like. A good sci-fi trope is there is always a game that looks like a game that we would recognise, but is it's a bit like chess, but it's like it's in like 5 dimensions, or it's a card game, but the cards are all hexagons. Thanks, Battlestar Galactica, or it's like things that, and so those become like things people are culturally obsessed with. And I imagine like when you're on a ship a lot, you have to have stuff that passes the time, and if all you've got for television is Conch Street. And you're not into that there would be other activities that you would want to pursue.
Can it be some sort of space version of Pogs?
Yes, I like it. Space Pogs.
Space Pogs.
I bet the Conch have their own version of them.
Yeah.
I bet you can do like space top trumps with members of the Conclave.
Oh my god, like the chocolate frogs, like top trumps, like collector's cards that you get in a pack of something, and it's like, oh god, I've got Secretary Vedek's again. I've got 20 of him. I've got so many swapsies of Secretary Vedek's.
Have you got the shiny Vedek's though? That's one that everyone wants. And
I'm
there's
looking
only
forward to these kinds of conversations.
Yeah.
And I think literary scene is probably pretty hot as well.
I think in any oppressed society, those kinds of things tend to float
would it
to
be
the top.
digital or would it be analog? Would there be a certain mystic, like basically like vinyl at the moment? Kind of going back and going, I've got this book, and everyone's like, holy crap, it's on paper.
It has to be handwritten because anything digital could be tracked.
Yeah, I love that as an idea actually, that like the passing of paper books becomes, or like paper manuscripts and folios and things becomes like
zines.
Like a way of disseminating like artistic information, where obviously if the Conclave found it, you would be in a lot of trouble and it would be contraband. But that actually they may have no idea some of this stuff exists because it's never been committed to code.
Should we flesh out the glitches just a little bit, to get an idea of what they're about, and also for you two not necessarily knowing
no idea what you're talking about,
what the situation is there.
So the glitch are the organised resistance against the Conchs. And when we've had our meetings with them, we meet in a public place, but we digitally meet in like a separate,
you sort
like
of
a projected reality.
Drop off sensor, so you have like sensor jamming.
Yeah.
So you're still there physically, but you drop out of the scanned version of the wherever it is that you are.
Right.
I think we established that they're like a loose organisations. They're not like a single species of anything.
Yeah.
But they specialise in getting people off the radar.
Because they're not included in the Conclave simulation because they've come off the grid.
Yeah, they're like people who are out of the Matrix.
So they don't count, like if there was a population of them on a planet, they wouldn't count towards like the population's planet.
Is that because they have managed to find a way to extract themselves without the Conclave knowing, like the Matrix?
Yeah, I think the Conclave probably know that they are doing it, but
they've got no way of knowing like how many or who they are or where they are.
Without sending ships out to somewhere and staff actually looking at them with their eyes,
which they're not used to doing.
Yeah, and saying, there's some people here that aren't showing up on our scans.
Yeah.
And obviously they would need to have some sort of clue that there was a population there in order to send somebody out to do that inspection.
So how do we think they do it? Do they have like a device that jams the scanning that they have to have on their person, or do they operate only in black spots where the scans don't work?
Or is it something that becomes built into their like physiology that
like they have an implant or something?
Surely they just wear tinfoil hat.
Sure.
Just bounces the rays off.
I'm thinking about this as like you take the red pill in it, right?
I think we did say that they had a thing, didn't we?
Because
we said that we had one that would let us join them.
But that's like, it feels like that's a temporary
guests,
I reckon they have an implant and it blocks.
I think why not all those things? I think there probably are implants that will do that. There are devices that will do it temporarily, but I think they probably do like specialise in finding places that the
it makes
sensors do not
sense,
reach.
right? Yeah, or where they're less likely to be identified in person.
Because you can't spend your whole time in like a populated area with a invisibility cloak on.
Yeah,
you need somewhere to go to organise and to live.
Yeah.
So that would have to be somewhere that just isn't being picked up.
Well, it makes sense from like a belt and braces perspective that they have this implant that stops them being detected digitally anyway. Like they're completely off the grid essentially. But they would live in situations where that wouldn't then be prohibitive for living a normal life.
Yeah, are we kind of imagining that they have kind of opted to choose a kind of less opulent
That's my imagining
because
of what
they have
this
to
looks
go
like.
and live somewhere.
Like you might live on a planet where they can farm for themselves, feed themselves, completely be self-sufficient, so they're not having to rely on like digital transactions of money and things like that.
But if it's not very populated, because I mean, I'm imagining places that aren't scanned as frequently or as well are the places that aren't as desirable to live.
Exactly,
so it's probably places that aren't super nice.
Yeah, but like underground bunker style life, like the Resistance in Star Wars.
Places that have been resource stripped already. So like everything of worth has already been taken, so there's no point scanning it again.
Yeah, so it's assumed to be an abandoned planet, but actually they've set up home in these environments.
Okay. And found a way of maybe, starting again almost.
Yeah, like they're just, they're scratching a living, but it's better than being...
Yeah.
You know, and you could make the argument, right, that if you're like in the conclave and actually like in their simulated world and actually everything's really nice, you have a better quality of life, but actually if you've got no free will, then...
I wonder if they get a lot of private funding from like socialist-minded upper classes.
Yeah, like, there could be a few people
slightly eccentric people who don't want to live.
And maybe there are people who are like moles, right, in the conclave, right, at the upper echelons, who do secretly fund it because they know that this resistance needs to reach a critical mass before it can take over.
Yeah,
which is the Hunger Games system.
Maybe the conclave actually want to shut down the simulation and don't know how anymore.
Oh, it's a conspiracy. Who knows?
The simulation's taken over, or the simulation has said that they need the glitches.
Yeah.
So the conclave are like, oh no, we don't want these glitches, bad glitches. Have some money.
Yeah. I love the idea that actually the glitches think they have free will and that they're all a part of like a resistance. And it turns out in a twist at the end that they are a part of the process all along. Oh my god, for balance in the universe, you must have
I think that's plenty.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot.
Right, let's dive into this galaxy that we made.
Yeah. Hey, exciting.
You've been listening to Merely Roleplayers. You can look us up wherever you find podcasts, on Twitter @merelyroleplay and at facebook.com/merelyroleplayers. Reviews and kind words are all very much appreciated, and we hope you'll join us again for our next episode.